The Chinese People's Liberation Army, PLA, is starting its spring conscription for the year 2024, starting from February 20th. The conscription documents reveal a particular emphasis on recruiting university students, leaving no blind spots in rural areas, and enforcing conscription for those engaged in work or studies outside their hometowns. Reclaiming Taiwan remains one of Xi Jinping's significant ambitions. Rumors circulating within the PLA suggest that Xi Jinping may launch an attack on Taiwan in 2027. However, experts believe that currently Xi Jinping lacks the ability to do so, but they do not rule out the possibility of him taking risky measures to escape from crises. On February 4th this year, a teleconference on conscription work in Hebei province for 2024 was held in Shijiazhuang. Ni Yuefeng, the secretary of the provincial committee and the first secretary of the provincial military region party committee, stated during the meeting that this year's recruitment would still focus on university students, with an emphasis on recruiting a diverse mix of university graduates to provide the military with more high-quality youth. Ni Yuefeng also emphasized that the party secretaries at all levels of the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, are the primary persons responsible for managing the armed forces and conscription work. The outside world is becoming increasingly vigilant about the intentions behind China's conscription efforts. On February 12th, Gao Tian, a resident of Hebei province, disclosed to foreign media that universities would enlist students when the spring semester begins in March, and there are quotas allocated for this purpose. Last year's recruitment in Hebei province was very lackluster, but this year there seems to be a sense of compulsion. Gao Tian stated that enlistment is now more difficult, a sentiment echoed by military officers he knows in Hebei. Although the benefits have significantly increased, many parents worry that their children will end up on the battlefield. Gao Tian remarked, "The general public is more concerned about 2 points regarding conscription: the treatment of soldiers and stability. The premise of stability lies in whether there will be a cross-strait conflict. Currently, many young people are worried about becoming cannon fodder." Mr. Li, who is familiar with the conscription situation, stated, "Last year, not many people were recruited, but this year, the leaders in Hebei province have stated that they must ensure sufficient recruitment." Mr. Li received conscription notices on both his mobile phones. He said, this time, conscription distinguishes between urban and rural household registrations, and the focus is on those aged 18 to 24. Emphasis is placed on the cultural literacy of recruits, targeting university students and graduates to prepare for future information warfare, and incidentally, to address the employment issues of youths, which is conducive to maintaining stability. Mr. Li also revealed that the CCP has recalled soldiers who have been discharged within the last 5 years. This happened to the husband of one of his colleagues. Even university students joining the military this year share worries about the prospect of war, as do those within the system. In addition to Hebei, provinces like Hubei and Fujian have also convened conscription meetings for 2024. Local officials have called for a clear understanding of the severe situation, comprehensive coverage and thorough investigation of current year graduates from various villages, and ensuring that no one is missed out. A township government in Keshan County, Qiqihar, proposed that young people from rural areas engaged in non-agricultural work should be mobilized to return to their hometowns to register for enlistment, ensuring no blind spots in conscription mobilization. Yuan Hongbing, a legal scholar residing in Australia, believes that the CCP's expansion of recruiting from rural areas has only one reason. Either the CCP or the Xi Jinping administration is preparing for a large-scale comprehensive war. This is because the rural population base in China is the largest, and rural areas are not the political, economic, and cultural centers. Therefore, if rural soldiers suffer significant casualties in a war, it will not quickly trigger the most significant political and economic effects, unlike soldiers from urban areas. This is the fundamental reason behind the CCP's vigorous recruitment of rural soldiers. In the eyes of some observers, Xi Jinping seems impatient to reunify Taiwan with China. In the Taiwan Strait, and even in the South China Sea and East China Sea, Beijing continues to demonstrate its military strength, causing deep concern in the Philippines and Japan. Moreover, there are indications that the Xi Jinping administration has begun to strengthen preparations for war. According to the Hong Kong English-language newspaper, South China Morning Post, in the past month, 3 provincial-level CCP committee secretaries entered the Eastern Theater Command headquarters where they met with General Lin Xiangyang, the commander of the Theater Command, and pledged full support for war preparations. The strategic focus of the Eastern Theater Command is the East China Sea and the Pacific Ocean. There, multiple military actions targeting Taiwan have been conducted, including flights around the island and large-scale military exercises. During his inspection of the Eastern Theater Command headquarters in July last year, Xi Jinping demanded the establishment of a strong joint operational command system for the Theater Command and emphasized the need for combat readiness. On February 8th, the eve of the Lunar New Year, Zhang Youxia, the vice chairman of the Central Military Commission, CMC, visited a training ground of a brigade of the 82nd Group Army and an aviation regiment of the Air Force in the Chinese People's Liberation Army, PLA. On the same day, another vice chairman of the CMC, He Weidong, also visited a detachment of the Beijing General Brigade of the Chinese People's Armed Police Force and a regiment of the Beijing Garrison, inspecting the training and living conditions of the troops at simulation training centers and other locations. Both Zhang Youxia and He Weidong emphasized the need to intensify military training and combat readiness. Additionally, during the televised CCTV New Year's Eve gala, there was a segment featuring military recruitment, with active-duty soldiers carrying guns on stage, accompanied by scenes of fighter jets, tanks landing on beaches, and missiles launching. Xie Tian, a professor at the University of South Carolina, told Voice of America that while the New Year should be a time of peace, airing such a program full of violent undertones is highly discordant. Apart from intimidating the Chinese people, the imagery could also be interpreted as a threat to Taiwan. The Chinese military consists of various branches, including the Army, Navy, Air Force, Rocket Force, Strategic Support Force, and Joint Logistics Support Force, with a total active duty personnel of approximately 2.2 million. Xi Jinping has always regarded the reunification of Taiwan as part of his great rejuvenation of the Chinese dream. The CCP's recent military actions, including reforms, warship construction, and frequent exercises in the Taiwan Strait, clearly reveal its intentions towards Taiwan. Rumors have arisen that Xi Jinping has pancreatic cancer and that he may step down as a result. One piece of evidence suggesting Xi Jinping's illness was his January 17th appearance at the funeral of former vice chairman of the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, Zhang Kehui, where he appeared haggard and thinner than usual. Subsequently, rumors about Xi Jinping's cancer spread rapidly. Due to widespread discontent with Xi Jinping's autocratic rule, many people seem to hope that these rumors are true. Observers believe that various negative rumors about Xi Jinping seem more like information warfare leaked from within the top echelons of the CCP aimed at threatening him. At the same time, they also indicate an unprecedented challenge to Xi Jinping's personal authority. On February 2nd and 8th, a netizen named Li Da said on social media platform X that there is no truth to the rumors of Xi Jinping having pancreatic cancer. Xi Jinping has consolidated power by appointing all key positions to his confidants and will not relinquish the highest office. In recent years, he has been purging all those in the military who oppose the use of force to unify Taiwan, so it is certain that Xi Jinping will launch a military attack on Taiwan before 2027. Ye Xuanji, the deceased nephew of CCP founding marshal Liu Zhengcao, served as chairman of the Ye family group in Hong Kong, general manager of CITIC Hong Kong Group, and chairman of Zhengtian Technology Holding Company. He passed away in 2015 at the age of 75. The Ye family is one of the most influential families in China. In fact, as early as January 2022, hawkish CCP scholar Jing Cangrong revisited the topic of reunifying Taiwan by force, claiming that Xi Jinping will use force to achieve the reunification of mainland China and Taiwan by 2027, the centennial of the establishment of the PLA. Jing Cangrong said, "China already has the ability to reunify Taiwan within a week." Jin Cangrong is the vice dean and professor of the School of International Studies at Renmin University of China, and is known as an expert on American issues. He frequently delivers speeches on military strategy and is considered one of the diplomatic advisors close to Xi Jinping. His hawkish views have garnered some popularity as they align with domestic nationalist propaganda. The tense situation in the Taiwan Strait has recently become a focus of international attention. David Cohen, Deputy Director of the Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, revealed in September 2023 that Xi Jinping has informed the Chinese military that he hopes to have the capability to attack Taiwan by force before 2027. Cohen's assessment aligns with CIA Director William Burns and Philip Davidson, the former commander of Indo-Pacific Command. In July 2023, Burns was asked at the Aspen Security Forum whether Chinese leader Xi Jinping had already decided to attack Taiwan. Burns stated that although Xi Jinping had instructed his military to prepare for invading Taiwan by 2027, Xi Jinping and the People's Liberation Army have doubts about whether they will be able to. He also mentioned that progress had been made by the United States in rebuilding its intelligence network in China. Davidson expressed his concerns during an interview with Kyodo News last year, stating that he worried that Taiwan could be in trouble within the next 6 years due to Beijing's desire for unification. This not only refers to the possibility of a military invasion by the CCP, but also includes scenarios such as concentrated missile bombardment or blockade of the Taiwan Strait. Experts researching the Chinese military's intentions regarding Taiwan point out that by 2027, the PLA's reserve forces will reach 7.3 million, posing a threat not only to the region but also globally. The Taiwan Ministry of National Defense's 2023 report on Chinese military capabilities suggests that Xi Jinping may push the Taiwan issue during his third term, increasing the risk of military conflict if China crosses the line. The report cites analysis indicating that, with China's economic slowdown, Xi Jinping may indeed fan nationalist sentiment to maintain his legitimacy. However, from a military perspective, the CCP's joint logistical and operational capabilities may still have significant weaknesses, and they are not yet capable of using force to take Taiwan swiftly before 2023. Miles Yu, director of the Hudson Institute's China Center, also believes that the likelihood of Xi Jinping taking Taiwan by force is not high when considering the costs, opportunities, and capabilities needed. During an interview with Voice of America on February 10th, Miles Yu stated that taking Taiwan would not be easy for China. The operation would be amphibious in nature, and the CCP needs significant technological and military skill improvements in this area. Even though Xi Jinping has ambitious plans, the potential cost of military intervention by the United States makes it unlikely he would take such a big risk. However, Yu also warned that Xi Jinping is known for taking risks, and he could still use Taiwan as the starting point for the next general war. The CCP has been expanding military bases globally and planning for military projection. Moreover, China's ongoing territorial disputes with India, Vietnam, the Philippines, Japan, and South Korea could escalate into a larger conflict at any time. Many senior military officials in the CCP have been purged since last year. These include Li Yuchao, the commander of the Rocket Force, leaders of the Strategic Support Force and the Equipment Development Department, as well as senior military industrial figures, with at least a dozen individuals being targeted. Defense Minister Li Shangfu was also removed from his position. Former Defense Minister Wei Fenghe was absent from several important occasions. On December 29, 2023, the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress announced the dismissal of 9 senior military officers from their respective positions. On the same day, it was officially announced that former Navy Commander Dong Jun would replace Li Shangfu as Defense Minister. Former PLA Navy Colonel Yao Cheng stated that Dong Jun, promoted by Xi Jinping, lacks the ability to command the respect of the military. Yao Cheng said that Dong Jun comes from a staff background and has never led troops or been on a ship or aircraft. He relied on flattery and opportunism to gain Xi Jinping's trust. Various signs indicate widespread corruption within the PLA, shaking the morale of the military. Those corrupt officers who have enriched themselves likely did not take seriously Xi Jinping's instructions to prepare for taking Taiwan by 2027. The biggest obstacle to Xi Jinping's military reunification of Taiwan lies in intervention by the United States and Japan. Judging from America's commitment to Taiwan, the U.S. will undoubtedly not tolerate the CCP annexing Taiwan. Many military experts point out that the CCP's military power is insufficient, especially in terms of amphibious combat capabilities. They believe that if the CCP dares to use force against Taiwan, it will be the moment of the CCP's downfall. Former U.S. Navy intelligence officer and senior researcher at the Mitchell Institute for Aerospace Studies, J. Michael Dahm, recently released a report on Chinese military capabilities. The report indicates that in terms of equipment alone, the Chinese military lags behind the U.S. by more than 10 years, and their new equipment lacks highly skilled operators. In May last year, the revised conscription regulations in China focused on recruiting science and engineering students specializing in artificial intelligence. Chinese military reports have indicated difficulties in recruiting technical personnel, such as fighter pilots and engineers. The Navy lacks sufficiently trained personnel to operate new warships, with a particularly urgent need for aircraft carrier pilots, resulting in a scenario where the equipment is ready but the personnel is not. Additionally, the Chinese military-industrial complex still lags behind in areas such as aircraft and ship engines, relying on some foreign components. U.S. sanctions on semiconductors and other components may further complicate China's military technology development. Song Guocheng, a researcher at the Center for International Relations at Taiwan's National Chengchi University, stated that due to privilege within the military, corruption has long been a problem. There's even been profit sharing within military-industrial enterprises. For example, the Rocket Force, which is touted as the most advanced and modern strategic unit of the CCP, also faces significant corruption issues due to its privileged position and extensive connections within the military-industrial complex. Song Guocheng assesses that unless Xi Jinping severely misjudges the situation in the Taiwan Strait and internationally, his plan to take Taiwan will undoubtedly face multiple challenges. Song said, firstly, the cost of war is unbearable. Secondly, Taiwan has strong defense capabilities and has the highest missile density in the world. Thirdly, it will inevitably lead to joint action by the international community against the CCP. He continued, if the CCP wants to take Taiwan, it's not just Taiwan they'll be fighting. They may have to contend with several countries in East Asia fighting on all sides. So, although they constantly desire to take Taiwan, their capabilities fall short. It's just wishful thinking. Song Guocheng concluded by saying, of course, it cannot be ruled out that due to escalation of military adventurism, there may be a strategic misjudgment regarding the situation in the Taiwan Strait, because dictatorial leaders often become more reckless in their old age. But once defeated, the collapse of the CCP is imminent.